Let's unpack this one, the next one. Hamas members who decommission weapons and commit to peaceful coexistence. I mean, it's just like, who has the chutzpah to even write a sentence like this? And commit to peaceful coexistence will receive amnesty, while those wishing to leave Gaza will be granted safe passage to third countries. Shalom, everyone. Well, we just finished watching the 20-part peace plan from President Trump that he presented to the world from the White House with Bibi Netanyahu. And it's got a lot of information. It's got a lot of people on edge. And like most people, I have a lot of questions. So I want to unpack this with my guest today. And I will do that in a minute. Let me remind you that you can subscribe to this YouTube channel. If you don't already do that, please subscribe and hit notifications, as well as follow us at shalomandmessiah.com. Shalomandmessiah.com. You can go to our website to get resources, to also connect with us on many levels, and support our ministry. We can use the financial support, so please visit our website. And if the Lord leads you to do so, make a donation to help our ministry go further and reach out more Jewish people with the gospel of Yeshua, Jesus. Also, we have a Telegram channel. You can scan the QR code on your screen and connect with us through our Telegram channel to get my daily updates when I'm on the road in Israel or anywhere else. So you don't want to miss any of my updates. And one more thing, friends. We're about a week away. October 7th, second anniversary of the Hamas terrorist attack in Israel. October 7th, my book is coming out, Antisemitism in the End Times, with Harvest House Publishers. I'm so excited about this book. If you enjoy, maybe not the right word, if you appreciate the information that I share with my guest on this channel, you're going to want to get a copy of this, because a lot of information in this book, I go in details that I don't have time to go on the videos, and it covers everything beyond October 7th. It's pretty recent update. So you're going to want to get a copy of this book on Amazon right now for pre-order, and in every bookstores where books are carried after October 7th, including Amazon, of course. So thank you for watching, and let me introduce you right now to the guest. And here he is, my good friend John Holler. John, welcome to the show.
Good to be with you.
We watched this thing, and I want to get into it, right away. Basically, 20 points made by Trump. Bibi clearly said, "I agree with President Trump's peace plan." So there seems to be they're on the same page. Give us, before we get into some details, an overview, a 30,000 feet look at the plan. Do you think it's good, bad, and do you think it's achievable or not?
Let's see, good, bad, or achievable. Good in the sense that the hostages will come back. Well, I think there are 20 alive.
And 28 dead, yeah.
28 dead. So look, if that doesn't happen, everything's off. Okay, so that's 72 hours after everybody accepts. Hamas is saying that they'll decide by tomorrow, they'll give a response.
Oh, they said by tomorrow, because some people said they could take up to a week.
Well, I just read somewhere, the New York Times or some places, saying that they have said that they'll give a response tomorrow. Excuse me.
Do you think there's anything that Hamas could do and come back and say, we will accept it as long as, and then give some additional expectations or demands or?
Well, that would be typical of the way they negotiate. First of all, within Arabic language, particularly in the Muslim world, which we're dealing with, they don't really have a word or a concept of compromise and agreement. So we're sort of dealing with somebody that's never going to agree. And this is always viewed as the next step towards something else, which is the complete eradication of Israel in this case. And I don't see that changing.
Me
And
neither.
everybody's got this pie in the sky notion that, well, we'll de-radicalize Hamas, we'll de-radicalize Palestine. But Olivier, it continues on and on and on. It's in all their textbooks. I was just reading the Impact -SE, which is a great website that analyzes textbooks. I think it's out of Norway or Sweden, that analyzes textbooks that are used in Jordan, in the Palestinian areas of Israel, in Gaza. In Jordan, they still have these textbooks where they're educating their kids to hate Jews, to hate and kill Jews. And so I don't know how any of this changes anything. I think it's pie in the sky.
It does not eradicate the ideology of Islam. It might stop Hamas. It might destabilize or disarm Hamas, and completely, even if they don't work with Israel, just like eradicate them and kill all Hamas terrorists. But it still doesn't take away the Islamic ideology that's pervasive all over the world.
Yeah, and I don't think that it deals with the issue, because there's going to be people released from prison. Hamas is getting amnesty, and there's some indication that some people in Hamas will even get amnesty and still stay in Gaza.
I know, and it's like, seriously, are we? How could Bibi accept that?
Well, he's got a big problem with his coalition too, because, can you imagine that? I'd like to be a fly on the wall in the conversation he's going to have with Smoktrick and Ben Gvir when he gets back to Israel. I don't know. I see a lot of people talking about, this is 4D chess and this is the brilliance of Trump and all of this stuff. I don't buy it at all.
Why? Why not?
Because it's not going to work. He's capitulating to Qatar. It's all over this. And when I look at the room, when this thing takes place yesterday at the White House with Bibi Netanyahu, who is the guy who's front and center sitting in the front row is Jared Kushner. Jared Kushner was the architect of the Trump plan back in 2020. This is sort of a small slice details of that plan.
Right.
This plan the plan in 2020 had something about Gaza. Now we know what Jared's plan is for Gaza. And Jared is probably maybe the most influential advisor to Trump on this issue. And he's all about a deal. I've got a video of him at Harvard early this year or late last year talking about this is going to be a business transaction. He goes to these different economic forums that are put on, and he talks about now he's doing deals in Albania, and the Trump organization's doing deals in Qatar. So I don't like the look of it at all. I don't understand the thinking. And I will tell you, so I do sample, I'll call it mega media, like Steve Bannon and those type of people. And I listened to Steve just a short time before from yesterday, just a short time before he started here. And this is what he said. This is the greatest thing ever. Trump's a man of peace. He's got all these peace deals. This is fantastic. This is visionary. This is similar to what Trump said. This is like a historical moment in the history of civilization. And then he says, and this is I'll have to go back and get the exact quote, the foundation for a two-state plan in Israel.
Who said that?
Steve Bannon. So what I'm saying is that's mega media. That's what we are starting to call the woke right. the Carlsons, the Prophet Candace Owens, and all those other people.
Or like what my friend John Haller sometimes called the Third Right.
The Third Right. And actually, I think it is in a meeting that Bibi had in New York with some social media influencers. He used the term the woke Reich. He actually said that. So he did. I've got the quote. So I'm just saying is that we know where this is going. So I mean, when the right wing media, MAGA media, is saying this is the foundation for a two-state plan, why do we run around trying to act like Trump is playing 4D chess that won't do the worst thing that's going to happen? And so this is just I mean, I said the same thing when that 2020 plan was released. And by the way, if you take the map of Gaza and you put it next to the maps that were in the 2020 Trump plan, the color scheme is exactly the same.
Yeah, you sent that to me yesterday. I noticed.
And was I accurate in describing that?
Well,
that
in the color scheme, you're accurate. What are you trying to say?
Well, I'm just saying, is it clear that they came from the same mind?
Well, they came from the same. Yeah. It's the same design style, and no, that much. I'm looking at them right now. Yeah.
So let me see Jared's MacBook. I'm sure he uses a MacBook. But I'm just saying is it comes from the same mind. And so the difference from 2020 is where the whole world is. So I'm looking at a map. It's in the New York Times. I don't know when it was published, updated September 22nd. So during the meetings a week ago today, the UN meetings. And it's a map of recognition of a Palestinian state. And you are hard pressed to find many countries that do not accept this. I mean, you have the US, Greenland, Central, Southern Europe, Greece and Italy, Norway, the Baltic states.
Is that the red map? Is that the red and yellow map?
Well, this one's in green, and the green areas that favor a Palestinian state. So yeah, it's the one you've seen. Some are put it in red, some put it in green. It's the whole world eventually, essentially.
Right.
Even Argentina, surprisingly. Some of this is very surprising to me. So I think Japan is also hanging in there, and South Korea.
Yeah.
But it's like 90+% of the world countries that are in the UN. And so that's a little bit different change from 2020. Now they're having meetings about shoving this down Israel's throat. So I don't like it. I don't see that the Trump plan does anything to do that. Maybe we should talk about some of the specifics of the plan and what we see. So in my update on Sunday, I did a pretty long segment analyzing what was then the strategically released Gaza plan. And there's a few differences. Maybe I could point out the differences. A couple of them, fewer prisoners are being released. Palestinian prisoners are being released from Israeli jails. Like they're releasing the 250 life sentence Palestinian prisoners. By the way, in the anti-Israel media, those people who've been convicted of crimes in court, they're being referred to as hostages.
Yeah, they're not.
It's a total inversion of the language. On many levels.
They're trying to every chance they have, they're trying to build equivalence. And
right. For example, Israel will release the remains of 15 deceased Gazans.
Right. So they're trying to build equivalence in the people's mind. So it's like, tit for tat. You give us 5, we'll give you. But it's not like 1,700 Gazans detained since October 7, 250 life sentence prisoners, and then remains for, Israel will release the remains of 15 deceased Gazans for every Israeli hostage. So the 28 that are dead, 281. So 420 deceased Gazans for 28 hostages in coming back to Israel. Now, let's unpack this one. The next one: Hamas members who decommission weapons and commit to peaceful coexistence. I mean, it's just like, who has the chutzpah to even write a sentence like this? And commit to peaceful coexistence will receive amnesty, while those wishing to leave Gaza will be granted safe passage to third countries. So to me, if I understand English, Hamas members who wish to stay, as long as they say, hey, here are my weapons, and I will leave peacefully with everybody else, I want to stay. Those who want to leave, will let them leave peacefully. They can go in anywhere they want, that they are welcome to go to, that will receive them. So that's telling me that they will allow for Hamas members to stay in Gaza. Well, am I misunderstanding the
No,
English?
I don't think you're misunderstanding that. The ones who want to leave can leave. The rest will be given amnesty and can stay. And I don't see how you decommit. I don't see how you do this without if this is what they want to do. How do you do this without a complete sweep of every inch of Gaza to remove all weapons? And do you think that that's going to happen? I think, again, this is pie in the sky. And I mean, it's giving a lot to Hamas. And I know people say, oh, well, Hamas will reject it anyway. But some of this stuff, we need to understand things like momentum and trajectory. The trajectory on this is moving towards where the world wants it to move. Now, listen, this may be where it's going to move prophetically.
That's true.
But that doesn't mean we have to like this thing or support it. Or, I mean, everybody wants to, mega media wants to say, well, we ought to stop sending our money over there. Well, do you think there's no money going to be going over there to do this plan? Give me a break.
Qatar,
how stupid do you have to be to think that?
I mean, yeah. Now, okay, give me a take on Tony Blair. That was just like, okay, that came out of left field for me.
Literally left field. Look, I don't understand that one a little bit either. But listen, if you go back and you look at some of the the Bahrain meetings, the Monomad dialogues or whatever they were a few years ago, there's Tony Blair and Jared Kushner sitting on stage talking about issues like this. So he's always been around, and everybody says, well, he brokered the big important peace agreement between in Northern Ireland, between the various factions up there. Okay, but he is the ultimate left-wing technocrat. And then, so that sort of leads to another part of this plan of the 20 points. When I did it, it was 21 points. I'm not sure which one was removed or whether it got combined.
I couldn't figure out which one was removed. People early on said 21-point peace plan, and it turns out 20. So I don't know.
So, but if you look at the one, it says Gaza will be governed temporarily by a technocratic, apolitical Palestinian committee overseeing public services under the supervision of an international board of peace chaired by President Trump and including figures like Tony Blair. So what it means is if Tony Blair will be involved and Trump will be chairman of the board of peace. And I think there's some details more coming out on that. But the other thing is kind of interesting, and I have a round table coming up this week on technocracy with Patrick Wood and Scott Townsend and Brit Gillette, and I think Pete Garcia.
Yeah, I saw that.
But we talked about technocracy, and here they just come right out and say it, that these technocrats are going to be able to do it. And you and I have exchanged some of the big PowerPoints that came out recently and over the past of the course year about the great, big, beautiful Gaza plan, where they're going to turn Gaza into what looks like a updated version of Dubai.
Right, a Middle East Riviera.
Yeah, Riviera, an Arab Riviera on the Mediterranean. So but and if you take, and the other thing to do is, and I have somebody who's agreed to help me piece this together a little bit. She does very good work. And so I'm not going to identify her because I don't want people to bother her until she gets this done for me. I'm just joking a little bit about that. But when you look at the language used in this Gaza plan, you need to also look at the language used in things like the Abraham Accords, the things used in the New York Declaration, the language used in the UN plans, the UN resolutions, and then you also need to look at, for example, there's a organization I think we've talked about called Abraham Shield. I've interviewed some of these people. I know some of them, and look, they want peace. We get this. That's the thing that they're operating from. But technocratic governance is all through the Abraham Shield website. It's going to be these technocrats, and in the context of what's going on in the world, this is a red flag, a big red flag for me that we want to give technocrats everything. And Olivier, this permeates everything. I mean, when you look at what Russia's doing in Ukraine, what Russia wants to do, what Russia proposes to do, they had a big conference recently called Forum of the Future. And it was, I call it World Economic Forum at the Kremlin. Everybody says, oh, Putin's not. No, Putin is all in on this. And he has all these technocratic types and anti-Israel types like Jeffrey Sachs, George Galloway, other people like that, including Alex Jones at this big forum for the future to talk about, the Moscow-based technocrats that want to run it. Oh, by the way, the other guy you had there at the conference was Elon Musk. He's the father of Elon Musk. Elon Musk's grandfather fled Canada to South Africa because he was going to be charged with treason because of his technocracy views. So this is who influenced Elon over the years. So this technocratic solution. So that's concerning. A Trump-led economic development plan will create a plan to rebuild Gaza. We've seen all those plans. We've seen all the pictures. We've seen the railways from Neom to Gaza. Right. We've seen the port, all of these things. A Trump-led economic development plan will create a plan to rebuild Gaza, drawing on experts, again, technocrats involved in developing modern Middle Eastern cities with a special economic zone established to attract investment. That's like right out of the mouth of Jared Kushner about what he's been saying ever since he did that plan back in 2020.
In the no residents will be forced to leave Gaza. I mean, right now Gaza is basically a pile of rubles on top of an underground pile of rubles.
Right. And by the way, we've been talking about 300 miles of tunnels. Yeah. Trump was using the 400 miles yesterday. And so I think people need to understand that what there was that was built there was incredible. And I get all these people like, well, we should ask questions about why Israel, why they didn't react on October 7th. Let's forget about October 7th, if we're going to make hypotheticals. How about what should Israel have done on October 6th if they really understood what was happening? Can you imagine the world reaction if they had actually gone in there on October 6th to deal with the issue? I mean, look how bad it was when they got people slaughtered and killed and cut up and shot and burned.
And maimed and raped.
Right. And everybody wants to act like none of that happened. And so the question is, if we know that that's what happened, what should they have done the day before? If they were really, I mean, I've asked this question many times, and everybody says, "Well, we just need to talk." No. Tell me what they should have. If you're so smart, tell me exactly what Israel should have done on October 6th to deal with the issue. And then tell me all the fallout that's going to come from that, because we've seen the fallout that came when they were brutally attacked.
And the continued accusation of genocide. If Israel was really a genocidal like the accusation, then on October 8th, the strip would have been leveled.
Right.
But it was not.
So there's a new report out, by the way, too, from the Ministry of Health. And there's some things analyzing a Gaza fatality analysis. And it's like the numbers don't match up to the propaganda that you get from Hamas. And so we're in the midst of this massive propaganda war.
Shocking.
Well, I know it's just, but people do that. So, I mean, for example, they say pre-10/7 data from the Palestinian Central Bureau of Statistics showed that Gaza records about 6,000 natural deaths and 800 infant deaths annually. And by the way, I don't know how many. I've seen this so many places, and I've looked at statistics and reports about how many babies have been born in Gaza since this thing started.
Over 50,000.
Over 50,000.
Over 50,000, yes. It's like
this does not sound like a genocide to me.
I think it's like 136 per day.
I know. It's
yeah,
that's spun by the anti-Israel media.
I spoke. I mean, you were there. I spoke at that our Ridgeview conference about those two big elephants in the room, the starvation and famine and then genocide, and try to show the truth to our audience that it's absolutely it's nonsense. It's
nobody wants to hear that, and so everything is spun in an anti-Israel, anti-Jewish. I don't like the term anti-Semitism anymore. I think it's Jew hatred is a more accurate term to use. But for example, Bibi was having a meeting the other day with these influencers, and it was recorded, and some of the videos have been released. And he said, we need to fight this information front. And a lot of us have been saying this all along, that we talk about 7 fronts for Israel on the physical ground, but there's an 8th front, which is the information war,
the media,
and the propaganda war. So Israel's trying to deal with that, just like any country would deal with that. But because Israel's dealing with that, immediately the third right, the woke right, whatever you want to call them, comes out and says Bibi's trying to shut down freedom of speech. And then they make these ridiculous claims that Charlie Kirk was asking questions of Israel and he got killed. So clearly the implication is Israel killed Charlie Kirk, even though the people who are far more anti-Israel, like Tucker Carlson, Propagandist Owens, all of those people on the woke right, the third right, all of them nobody's touching them. And so they're using this as a way to build their platforms. Look how brave we are because we're standing up and our friend was killed by Mossad or whatever the theory is. And so then Bibi said, well, we're glad for the purchase of TikTok. And immediately they started saying, oh, Israel bought TikTok to use as a propaganda weapon against everybody. Well, one, nobody's shutting you down on TikTok. Nobody's shutting you down on X. I mean, I think I'm stopped in some algorithmic hell on X because I get this anti-Jew hatred or Jew hatred just floods my feed every day. And I don't like these posts or anything. I don't know, Elon, please get me out of this algorithmic cesspool that I'm in, or this whirlpool that I'm in. I can't get out. And nobody's shutting any of that down. What Bibi's saying is we want our view, our side of the thing presented. That's all he's saying. But that's not how it's spun all across X, all across Facebook, even among Christians who respond to comments on my posts. I have to tell you, I put up a post. I get these ridiculous comments. Nobody wants to dialogue about it, and I have to take the post down.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's becoming yeah, people just want to
If you if you want to say that, go on your own Facebook page and put the post up. Don't flood mine with your garbage.
exactly.
And of course, then if you delete it, oh, you're affecting our free speech.
Yeah.
No, I'm protecting you from looking like an idiot.
Right. I'm doing you a favor.
Yeah,
Going back to
I'm blessing you.
yeah, going back to the 20-point plan, um, is there anything that you think is missing that Hamas would look and say, okay, this would work as long as we can add this and that? And is it maybe missing on purpose so that a lot seems to be given, but it's still not good enough for Hamas to accept, so that Israel can say, "Hey, we really tried. You just rejected it. So now we're finishing the job."
No, I look. I don't know whether they're going to accept it or not. We'll know within 24 hours.
Right.
The Emir of Qatar said that Hamas is going to say yes. He might actually know something, but that if anybody thinks this ends anything, I don't know what it is they're smoking.
Do you have a bridge to sell them in Brooklyn?
Yeah, well, a bridge in a big beautiful apartment in Neon. How
Oh,
about
okay.
that?
So the now, of course, yeah. To kind of expand on what you just said, tomorrow Hamas, the next few days, by the time this gets posted, probably things will have changed already. So that's the danger of what we do, now, because things change so fast. But Hamas says, okay, you know what, this is acceptable. We'll do this within 72 hours. We will return all hostages. You return the 1,500 plus this plus that. Uh, in reality, is that really going to stick? And can Hamas be trusted to be holding their part of that deal and allowing for the rebuilding of Gaza and a real peace prospect in the region?
So I think that I want to bring up a concept here that exists in Islamic thought, and it's called the concept of a hudna.
Yehuda.
And I've talked about this in the context of, we see this covenant in Daniel 9:27, and there's a lot of disagreement, a lot of different views of what this covenant is, how it comes about. And I suggested a long time ago that it may be something that the Islamic Arab world around Israel will agree to because they perceive themselves as being weak. So the concept of hudna is when you're weak, you make peace with your neighbors, with your enemies, and then you build up your forces, and then you can break that when you're strong enough to beat them. And this is the way the Islamic world has operated for 1,400 years.
That's right.
And I would say is looking at the historical context
Yeah.
and the religious context.
Yeah.
They might agree to this because they think look, Israel has demonstrated a significant military capability, from the pagers to the walkie-talkies to taking out. I mean, I was just looking at this 1-year anniversary the other day of the death of Nasrallah in Lebanon.
Yeah.
And of course, the Lebanese papers are all publishing big memorial newspapers about him and the people that were killed. They used to have a page at Al Manar, which is a Hezbollah website, with all the martyrs. And eventually it got so many they couldn't keep up with it, so they just stopped and took the thing down. Now they're starting to kind of revive that a little bit, like this was a victory for us because our glorious martyrs were sent on to their just reward. But I just don't think we understand the Islamic mindset here. And I'm telling you, I mean, it's overtly present with what's going on in Texas, with what's going on in Michigan and in Minneapolis and other places around the country. And now it looks like a Muslim leftist Marxist, the very embodiment of what Trevor Loudon would call the Red Green Alliance, is going to be elected mayor of New York in a few months.
Oh, Mandani.
Well, a few months. I guess it's only 2 months away, less than 2 months away now, in 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And I don't see how that's ever stopped. And so this concept of, we'll make peace when we're weak. So I wouldn't be surprised if Hamas accepted this, but it's not final. It's just part of the step in their process. And I personally do not think that a lot of people in charge at the Trump administration have a clue about this. So if everybody thinks or is trying to say they're playing 4D chess, I don't think you don't play 4D chess unless you understand the other 3Ds.
Right.
And I don't think they understand them. I don't think they understand what we are dealing with.
Yeah, and I think maybe Trump might be a little blinded by his undisclosed, unannounced desire to get the Nobel Peace Prize, because we know he has a little bit of an ego. I all I'm saying is that maybe he's thinking every president since 1948. I'm the one who's going to bring peace in the Middle East, and he's probably the closest. But we know this is going to be temporary at best. We know that real peace will not come until Jesus returns. So this to me is just setting the stage even more so for Daniel 9:27 to take place. The coming of the Antichrist, and then the 70th week of Daniel, and it's just amazing to me. It's exciting actually from a believer standpoint.
Sure.
If you're secure in your relationship with the Lord and you know what's going to happen to you, it should be exciting because it confirms the validity of the Bible. It confirms the truth of every word of the Bible. It confirms that all the promises God made are going to either have been fulfilled or will be fulfilled literally, verbatim. And we're getting really close. So I look at this deal. Listen, I at the end of the day, I just want the hostages to get back. I just want the 20 alive, whatever's left of them, and the 28 dead to go back to Israel. And then, you know what? Even if Israel says, okay, we got him, now we can level Hamas, I wouldn't mind. I know it sounds like, evil, and I don't care. It's just like, at this point, I don't trust Hamas, never have, never will. And I don't think people with a right mind believe that Hamas is going to comply. They, like you talked about Hudna, the concept of Hudna in Islam. Yes, it's basically, and this is the way Islam is operated. This is what they're doing in America. This is what they're doing in my neighborhood, an hour north of me, where they're popping up the mosques and the madrasas right and left. In good faith for, building up the community and interfaith dialogue. Next thing you know, they overtake the community and they enter into government, into school boards, and then and on and on and on. And then you have what you have in England and in France. I mean, can we learn anything from the way Europe has turned into an Islamic continent? I mean, this, by the way, I don't know if you've read anything by Bat Eor.
Oh yeah.
And I had the honor of meeting her in 2008 in France at a tea party at a friend of ours, common friend of ours, and a very small woman, but a great mind. And she in the 70s, I think in the 70s, wrote the book Eurabia, and she coined the word dimitude. And how we become dhimmis, second-class citizens, and she's an incredible. Anything she's written is worth reading. Great mind. Anyway,
I would say the same thing about Melanie Phillips.
Yes, absolutely.
She wrote Ledonistan
Yes.
about the Islamic invasion of London almost 20 years ago. It's hard to believe.
And here we are. And
And
so,
it hasn't been rolled back at all. And so I don't
by the
think
way,
we understand what we're in.
another book to put next to those books on the shelf is America Alone by Mark Stein. So
Yeah, Mark has undergone tremendous persecution, I think, for his views.
Yeah. So
I think the last time, I don't know if he was injured. I saw him in a wheelchair coming out of court someplace.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I haven't heard that much from him lately.
No.
And, another voice that's been, of course, we have the voice of Charlie Kirk was silenced. And by the way, all these people who were saying that Charlie Kirk was questioning Israel and departing from them, they did release a 7-page letter that he wrote to Benjamin Netanyahu recently saying, how can we help improve the message? That's not somebody who's turned his back on Israel. And so that's just those are social media grifters trying to build their audience by making these ridiculous claims. So, another voice too that's been kind of silent. He finally did release a video for the first time in a year. Was Dennis Prager?
Dennis Prager, yeah, I just saw that.
And he's paralyzed.
I know.
He fell and he's now paralyzed.
So sad.
It's just tragic. Tragic.
So sad.
I mean, we live at a very interesting time. I don't think we understand the nature of the enemy that we face. And I certainly don't think that this Gaza plan is a way to move forward to resolving that.
No, I would agree with you. So we need to keep watching. We need to keep praying. And we need to wrap this up too. So, to be continued. This is one more stepping stone towards the end time scenario of, whichever way you put it, what order you want to put it, but we're still, yet to come, coming attractions, if you want to call them that, the rapture, the tribulation, the millennium, and all those things are, future events. Right now, the stage is really being set for a false peace in the Middle East that most of the world will think is a real peace. And of course, we haven't even touched on the rebuilding of the temple. But this is happening on a daily basis. This is exciting to be watching. But in the process of that excitement is also the tremendous hardship that the Jewish people are going through and are going to continue to go through at the hands of pretty much the whole world. More and more people are turning their back on Israel. So what I like about you, John, is that you're like me. You're going to continue speaking God's truth and helping our audience understand, to connect some of the dots the best we can. As long as we have a voice, we'll be speaking the truth. We're becoming a dying breed that not a lot of people are willing to boldly speak the truth, but we have to, especially in light of what happened to Charlie Kirk just a few weeks ago. So, John, I'll put your information in the description. And again, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you.
I don't know what will happen in the next couple of days, but I'm sure you and I will talk again soon. So thanks for joining. Until next time, shalom and be blessed.